One of the most common questions I get on my channel is how do I get the DJI FPV remote to work with the DJI O4 system? Today, I'm going to give you a complete tutorial on how to use the DJI FPV remote with DJI O4. I'm going to talk about compatibility, walk you through the setup with Betaflight step by step, and hopefully by the end of this video, you will be able to use the DJI FPV remote with your O4 system as well. Now, in this video, I'm going to show you how to do it with Betaflight, but the process is pretty much the same, regardless of if it's Betaflight, iNav, or even ArduPilot. There are some differences in the software configuration in those other flight stacks, but the basic fundamentals are the same. One of the nice features about the DJI O4 system is the fact that it does have a built-in RC control link. Rather than you having to use your own third-party control system like ExpressRS or Crossfire, you can use the built-in system that outputs from the air unit via S-Bus. This system is actually transmitted over the OcuSync link, and whilst it isn't compatible with third-party transmitters from the likes of Radiomaster and others, you can use it with DJI's FPV remote series. Now, for new users, I don't usually recommend you go out and buy the DJI FPV remote because A, it isn't particularly cheap, but B, it really doesn't give you that many options. However, there are many people who have bought themselves a DJI Neo and Avata 2 and already have the DJI FPV remote and are upgrading to something like a freestyle FPV drone, and they want to use it with the O4 air unit. In these cases, it does actually make sense, and whilst it certainly isn't the most feature-rich remote controller available on the market, it is good enough to get yourself up and running, and in fact, it has pretty much everything most quad flyers need. The first thing you need to understand about using the DJI remote is which one is compatible with DJI O4, and the reality is both the FPV remote version 3 and the FPV remote version 2 are both compatible with the O4 air units. However, it is dependent on the goggle that you are using. For instance, if you are using the DJI FPV Goggles 3 or Goggles N3, you have to use the FPV Remote 3. If you're using the DJI Goggles 2 or Integra, you have to use the FPV Remote version 2. You cannot use the version 2 remote with O4 with the Goggles 3 or N3, and you can't use the version 3 remote with O4 with the Goggles 2 or Integra. The remote choice follows the goggles that you're using. Version 2 remote with Goggles 2 and Integra, version 3 remote with Goggles 3 and Goggles N3. There is also a difference in how the radio communicates with the O4 air units with the different goggles as well. For instance, on Goggles 2 and Integra, the version 2 remote talks directly to the O4 air units. However, with the Goggles 3 and N3, the remote talks to the goggles, and the goggles passes that remote signal over the air to the air unit. The remote itself is not directly communicating with the air unit via its built-in radio system, and that is why the version 3 remote has an internal antenna, because it only has to transmit its signal as far as the goggles, whereas the version 2 remote has an external antenna because it needs to transmit its signal all the way to the air unit itself. It is also worth me saying that the DJI RC Motion 3, is not compatible with DJI O4. This remote is only compatible with DJI's off-the-shelf consumer drones like the Avata 2 and others. This RC control link is available on both the O4 Pro as well as the O4 standard air units, and to use it, you need to make sure that all of the pins on the connector on the O4 air unit are connected to your flight controller. The O4 air units have both a dedicated plug as well as pads available for wiring to your flight controller. When it comes to the plug and play installation with a harness, DJI include one in the box that has all of the pins connected. The pins you need to ensure are connected for S-Bus are the yellow and brown wires that you see here. These are the two that carry the signal from the O4 ear unit to your flight controller for the RC output. When it comes to bind and flies though, things get a little bit more complicated. Drones designed to use the DJI remote should come pre-configured and should work absolutely fine. However, if you were to get yourself a bind and fly like this Nazgul here that comes with either Express LRS or Crossfire, you will most likely find that the UART for the S-Bus has not been wired. Many manufacturers use a 4-pin harness rather than the 6-pin harness when they're using a separate receiver, and as a result of that, your DJI remote system won't work unless you change the actual cable that goes from the O4 ear unit to your flight controller. Just to show you on this Nazgul as an example, this is the Express LRS edition. You can see here on the O4 Pro ear unit, they have only connected the 4 wires, power, negative, UART, and the 2 additional wires for the S-Bus connection are missing, and as a result of that, you would need a new replacement cable to be able to use it with the DJI remote system. It is worth taking this into account when buying a bind and fly because many people don't think they need to worry about what version they get when buying it with the DJI remote, but the reality is you actually do need to check because the chances are it won't come wired up for the S-Bus connection. When it comes to connecting your O4 ear unit to your flight controller, there are a number of ways you can do this. The included harness DJI provide makes it very simple. You simply plug this into the O4 ear unit port, and then you plug that into a compatible port on your flight controller. Before you do that though, it is imperative that you check the pin out on this connector is the same as the pin out on your flight controller. Many flight controllers today do have dedicated ports for digital FPV systems, but just because it does have a dedicated port that fits does not mean it is the correct pin out. You need to make sure that the positive and negative wires match the flight controller. So here we can see plus is on the end, and you can read there we've got 9 volt and ground, so that matches. We've then got T3 R3 ground, and this one actually labels it as S-Bus. You can see that's where the yellow and brown wires go. Some flight controllers will simply label that as another RX pad on a UART. The RX pad is the input, but you can see that that is connected in the correct order and we are fine. If you don't check that this is correct, you could burn your ear unit out. Once you're all connected and you've double checked your pin out, it's then time to power everything up and configure it. Just note, there is actually 2 parts to the configuration. You need to configure your flight controller, but you also have to make sure that your ear unit is on the correct setting as well. DJI 04 actually supports 2 different modes of S-Bus. You have normal and you have S-Bus fast. S-Bus fast offers lower latency, however, it does require additional configuration. My advice whenever setting up S-Bus on DJI is to start in the normal mode. That way you can ensure that it is working correctly, and then you can switch over to the fast mode once you know everything is fine. To set this, go into your goggles menu, go down to settings and under control. At the top, you will see the option called Protocol. This is where we switch between the normal S-Bus mode, which is standard, and S-Bus Board Fast, which is the faster mode. As I said, to start, we're going to leave it in standard. Next, we need to configure our flight controller. Today, I'm going to show you this in Betaflight. However, if you are using something like ArduPilot, simply follow the usual configuration options for S-Bus on those systems. The first thing to make sure is that your flight controller has actually been flashed with the S-Bus protocol. In Betaflight under the RC menu, you may actually have the option there to select S-Bus, but that doesn't mean the actual back-end S-Bus protocol has been flashed. To do this, you will need to reflash your flight controller, ensuring that you set the radio protocol to S-Bus. From the main flash screen, you simply find the radio protocol drop-down, select S-Bus from the list, and flash your flight controller with that option enabled. Once you know your flight controller is flashed with S-Bus, the next thing you will need to do in Betaflight is go into your ports window and then ensure that you have the correct UART set to serial RX. This may be a different port than the normal S-Bus input or UART input that the flight controller says to use for your receiver. It should be labelled on the instructions specifically for your flight controller, or it may be also labelled on the board as well, where it's shown on the connector. Here I'm actually using the HD0 Halo flight controller, and that has UART 3 connected on the port for the digital input. Once you have that correctly set and saved, if you then go into the receiver window, you then should see your receiver inputs being shown. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we are currently in the standard S-Bus mode, not in S-Bus Fast, and as you can see, that is working absolutely fine. Now, as long as this is working as expected, you can then go on to switch it into the S-Bus Fast mode. In your goggles, change the protocol from normal to S-Bus Board Fast. Now that I have changed it in the goggles, you will see that our receiver is no longer working. What we're going to do to enable S-Bus Board Fast is go into CLI, and we're going to type in or paste in the following, which is set S-Bus _board _fast to equals on. When that is done, we type save, reboot the flight controller, and now that it has reconnected, if we go back into our receiver tab, you should now see that our sticks are working again, and that is now in that S-Bus board fast mode. When it comes to the switch and button configuration, this is all preset by DJI at the factory. 2 of the switches and 2 of the buttons are configured to AUX 1 to 4. There is no adjustment or settings that you can make on these. So for instance, our top left 3-position switch is AUX 1. Our top right 3-position switch is AUX 2. Our pause button is AUX 3, which has 2 positions from 1500 up to 2000, and then our start stop button on the back corner is AUX 4, again going from 1500 up to 2000. You then also have C1, which is configured to AUX 5, again from 1500 to 2000, and both the wheel on the back as well as the record or stills button are disabled. And it really is as simple as that. Now, just to summarize a few things, as I said earlier, always start this in the normal protocol. Don't confuse matters by setting it to S-Bus Fast and setting it up at the same time. It is far simpler to start with it in the normal mode, make sure that's working, and then switch over to S-Bus Fast. That way, you'll know if it's a problem with the S-Bus input or it's a problem with your configuration. As I said, flight controllers flashed with CRFS protocol may not have the back-end options for S-Bus, even though you may be able to select it from the drop-down list, especially in earlier versions of Betaflight. And as a result of that, you may need to reflash your flight controller, specifically selecting the S-Bus protocol. And finally, as I mentioned, if you're buying a bind and fly, do make sure that you are checking the version you're buying. If you're going to buy a version that isn't coming with DJI 4 setup as standard, so either ExpressRS or Crossfire, the chances are the wiring harness will not be pinned out for S-Bus, and you're going to need to do some modifications. And as I said, as long as you follow those steps, it really should be that simple. Now, I hope you have found this video useful. If you have, Please do let me know down below in the comments if you have any questions. Pop them down below as well and I will try and answer them. And finally, I just want to say, if you'd like to support the channel to allow me to keep making content like this in the future, please do consider checking out the links to my Patreon as well as buying me a coffee. It is only through the support of my Patrons I'm able to keep making content on this channel. And if you'd like to support us, please do consider checking it out. I want to say a massive thank you to all of my Patreons, everyone who donates on a monthly basis. We would not be able to do this without your support. Anyway, that's it from me. Look after yourself, stay safe, and I will speak to you soon.